Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And how are you all doing?
Good.
Come on now, let's give a great, good, great. Yeah, pump it up here. Morning, Robert. Yes. First of all, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, who's a good friend of mine, and so I'm going to do her bio. So here it goes. Reverend Dr. Mary Whitney, pseudonym as Sunny Love, trauma response coach, rhetoric practices, facilitator, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging trainer, author, and community leader. Her professional summary, restored practices, facilitator, and trauma response coach for 20 years of experience in education, corrections, and community healing, accomplished author, keynote speaker, and founder of Sunny Love LLC and Women Playing Seeds, recognized for advancing trauma-informed care, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, domestic violence advocacy. Honorary doctorate in divinity, global, Opie Dale Seminary and University 2015, Wilson Bible College, 2-year program, Minneapolis Technical College. We're going to get to her key professional experiences. She's a trauma responsive coach and cultural liaison. She's RS Eden Supportive Housing Program. Her selected presentation and speaking engagements, MAPS Conference, NEJ Conference, Metro Area Human Services, Paladin Youth Summit, keynote speaker, Department of Education and Annual Staff Conference, facilitator, restorative practices summit for multiple years. She performed 6 weeks of workshops in Prodigal House Incorporated, Veterans Men's Program, podcast guest, healing, resilience, and leadership conversations. She's a speaker for the Department of Corrections Conference for Shame to Accountability, presentations ongoing yearly for the Minnesota State Pan-African Student Leadership Conference for 13 years. She, DEI, has shared sense of belonging and training for 12 charter schools in Henderson, Minnesota. Training for the Minnesota Department of Corrections Women's Programs on Victims, Impact, Work, Healthy Relationships. Her publications are Robbed of a Childhood, Raped by the System, From Hell to Heaven, An Incomplete Story of a Whole Person, Let's Get Real, Lessons Learned from the Field, From Black Woman's Soul to White Man's Heart, Manifesting Intentions from the Heart curriculum. Let's give Mary Whitmore a warm Minnesota 4th and 5th welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I wanted to thank you first of all for having me here, and I thank Robert for introducing me to you guys. And I want to thank you for all the things that you do and the service that you bring to our country. Without you guys, a lot of us wouldn't be where we're at today. I wanted to say I chose a topic for my presentation today is Operation Heartbeat, Reigniting the Fire Within. And I wanted to say that how do you bring the message of full completeness when you're just walking into the room? So I created something for you guys that I hope will lift you up. Thank you. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for showing up, not just for this country, this conference, but for yourself. Because with the way things are going in our world today, it takes a lot to keep showing up 100%. I want to be honest right from the start. I'm not here today to talk about programs, policies, or politics. I'm here to talk about what happens when the uniform comes off, when the noise quiets, the calls stop coming in, and you're left wondering, what now? Some of you have fought battles that can't be seen. Others are fighting one right now just to stay alive. And I get that because I spent years beside people who've come home but never really made it back. So today isn't about giving you another mission. It's about helping you remember one, and that is to live. You see, many were trained to serve, to protect, to endure, but nobody trained you how to come back home to yourself. Because that is where the battle really begins. And where my heart is with you today. I call this Operation Heartbeat. As you reignite the fire within yourselves, because I believe that's a torch that never goes out. When life knocks you down and systems check out and silence feels too heavy, there's still something inside you that says, I'm still here. You're still here. And that's proof in itself. That to me sounds like an unfinished purpose. I created an equation for you guys. I call it life. And life has many meanings for many people. But this is specifically created for you. It's simple. I even have the handout that I will leave with each of you before I leave today. But I didn't want you looking at the handout while I was trying to reignite your hearts. So, the formula is life. L-I-F-E. L is for love. I is for identity. F is for faith. E is for engagement. When love meets identity, fueled by faith and moved by engagement, that is life. Love, connection before correction. L stands for love. I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about connection. The kind of love you see when you can't even see yourself. The kind that says you're still worth it, even when you've lost everything. I wanted to say, as for me, my father died when he was 92, and I still miss the connection. Love is strength. It's not softness. It's what keeps you giving when everything else says you shouldn't. Ask yourself, who still loves me? Who do I still love? Because when we remember we are loved, the darkness loses a little bit of its power. Love is the bridge that brings us back from isolation to humanity. Identity, who you are beyond your uniform. I stands for that identity. Many veterans tell me, Rev, Mary, Doc, whatever they say, I say I'm not a real doctor. I'm a doctorate in divinity. I don't even know who I am anymore, they say. And I tell them, that's okay, because re-entry isn't losing your identity. It's recovering your authenticity. And if anyone knows what authenticity is, I believe it's many of you in this room. That's why one of my books says, Let's Get Real, Lessons Learned from the Field. You can't teach what we have yet to practice. We can't learn what we have yet to know and understand. Who you guys are was never limited to your uniform, the title, the trauma. You're still a brother, a sister, a father, a mother, a warrior. Still, I say for some, and I don't want to be offensive to those who don't, I say a child of God. You are not your scars. You are the survivor that carries them. Faith is something bigger. I can't see it, but I know we have it, and I know it's there. Because without it, I don't stand. But it's the evidence of the substance within us. Faith doesn't always look like church. It doesn't always look like religion. Sometimes it's that whisper inside that says, try again tomorrow. And sometimes it says, don't worry about it because it will take care of itself. How do I hear that? How do I ask you to wear that? When sometimes we forget even who we are. Try it again tomorrow. Faith is not the absence of fear, guys. It's the decision you make every time you move through it. It's believing that life has a plan, even when we don't know what the plan is. Even when you can't see it. Even when you don't want to hear what I have to say. There's a plan. Maybe faith is your creator, or your calling, or simply the possibility that real healing is possible. Whatever it is, I ask you guys to find that energy within yourself to hold on to it. Because faith is fuel for your soul. E is the last letter in life. It's for engagement. And that means engagement is purpose in motion. And some people say, get out of my feelings. But when my feelings are already moving, and I can't cut off that limbic system of that mindset that's just automatically in operation, and I don't know how to put my foot on the brake. You know what that means. Finally, engagement. Purpose is not something you wait for. It's something you create through motion. When you engage, you know you're moving. When you show up for someone else, when you volunteer, build, mentor, and change lives, or even pick up the phone, you're working, you're in operation mode. But how do we tell even the young sisters and brothers how to get into operation when a lot of times they've been fed what to say, what to do? and they feel lost too. I'm here to say, I want you to be reminded you're still alive. And would you say with me, I'm still alive?
I'm still alive.
Right? We are still alive. Engagement heals while isolation kills. And how many of you have felt isolated today? Right? What's that one thing that reminds each of you, individually, collectively, that you're still alive and you can still engage? Because purpose doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. That's why I say, let's get real. Lessons learned from the field. So let's say this equation I created for you guys together. Love, can we all say love?
Love.
Plus identity,
Identity.
plus faith,
Faith.
plus engagement
Engagement.
equals life,
Equals life.
right? And when those four come together, life doesn't just continue, it reignites. I wanted to ask you guys to bear with me for a moment as we just take a few deep breaths. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One last time. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Do you feel something somewhere in your body when we take those deep breaths? Give yourself permission to breathe. You're owed that. You see, systems have checked out on you many times, but life hasn't. And for me, I say God hasn't. And deep down, neither have you. That's what saved me, guys, one day in my living room when I was at the end of myself. I was just talking to the room, and I call it my higher source. It changed my life. My destiny changed, and I've never looked back. Every day you wake up, your heart is still beating. That means that something is still left for us to do. You've been trained for missions that require courage that many of us would close our eyes to and run and be afraid. But you have jobs that require courage even when under fire. I couldn't imagine. But this next mission, the mission to live, requires courage, even in the silence. And I believe that you have in each of you the courage to carry the weight, even when it feels heavy. And when the system doesn't call your name, put your hand on your heart and listen. Listen to the beat, because it's still there when no one else can feel it. You can. That's not a weakness. That's your heartbeat. That's life saying, you're still here. And as long as each and every one of you are still here, your mission continues. Even when no one calls us to it. We know what it's like to be on a mission. And we know what it's like to be driven. But some don't understand the kind of power you have within you that leads that mission all the way to the finish line. And I thank you for that service. Reentry isn't about returning. It's about rediscovering. Rediscover the love. Rediscovering your identity when we feel we've lost it sometimes. Even when we feel we're in a wilderness and can't find our way out. Rediscover your faith in that moment. Rediscover your engagement. And when you do, you know you've rediscovered your life. Breathe. Honor yourself with that breath. I want to thank you all for letting me even walk beside you for a moment today. You matter. Your life matters. Your story and life is not over yet. What you just heard wasn't written for one group, because I know you're many. It was written for all of us. And when I say all of us, I do circles. And while I'm standing before you, in my head, I'm circled up with each and every one of you. Because when I leave this room, I may not remember your names, but I remember faces. And when I'm encircled, I remember that space we held together. I'm not here today, guys, to change who you are. I want it to be a moment that you remember why you ever stood together as a unit in the first place. Many of you were taught to serve well by serving separately. I get that. I know that. And I know what it's like to feel that you're the only one. Legionnaires here, auxiliaries there, sons and families in another lane, families engaged, families disengaged, but still wanting to fit in, whether you're in the background or on the front line. Belonging matters to each and every one of us. But our world has changed, guys. You know that. I know that. We all see that. I'm 72, and I've never seen a world such as we're in today. A bridge is built. It doesn't just happen. And when the road is no longer needed, bridges aren't built by tearing down what worked. They're built by extending them. Today, I'm here to help you extend what you already carry together. I know I may not look like many of you in the room, but I stand here because my life work for over 20 years inside corrections, outside corrections, in schools, in communities, called me to help bridge the gap and build relationships when there was no relationship to begin with. My life's work is to help groups care deeply, to live passionately, and understand, even though we consider ourselves a diverse group. I want to help you learn to stand side by side instead of shoulder to shoulder, facing different directions. When we integrate the existing formula I created to give as a handout for you guys, could I have the Sergeant of Arms come and give each of you a handout, please? When you all get it, I will ask that you all look at it together. How are you feeling, guys?
Great.
Are you sure? Tell me when everyone has one. I don't want anyone left out. I had enough. Thank you so much. Oh, great. It's good to have leftovers than not to have enough, right? Thank you so much. I would love it if each of you could look at that together. I'm going to give you some minutes. What time? How am I for my time?
Another 20 minutes.
Okay. So I'm going to give each of you about 10 minutes together to look it over. I don't like to rush people.
Okay, we'll jump.
I'm going to say, do you guys have enough time or you want more time?
Good.
You good? Okay. This formula doesn't belong to one branch. I want you to notice, where does this require a connection? Or does it require shared responsibility? And where does it break down if one group carries it alone? Would anyone like to share a comment after looking at the equation?
I think there's one other thing missing,
What did I miss?
disposition.
Disposition. And you know what? Disposition matters, doesn't it? Right? How we carry ourselves, how we collectively engage, and how do I channel me? Because we all have our biases, and we all have what works within us. And how do we engage at that level when disposition does matter? Is there something you would like to share about why that came up for you? Did you hear me, sir? Even in the quiet, the stance and the stand is still there. I thank you for the thread. If the mission is the same, if the cause is the same, then the heartbeat must be shared. If you can, and if you're able to, can I ask the Legionnaires in the room to stand? And please stay standing if you can. If you can't, it's okay. I thank you and I acknowledge you, sir. Can I have the auxiliaries to stand? Sons and families to stand. Is there anyone else that I missed? If I did, please stand. Now would you just take a moment, each of us, and look around the room and see what you're noticing. This is not 4 groups, guys. This is one body with many strengths. Tradition tells us where we've been. The mission tells us where we're going. And when those two align, we don't lose who we are. We become who we were meant to be. In my closing, I ask we be in one lane, one heartbeat, and I'll end with these words for each and every one of you in this room. From this point forward, I ask that you move in the same lane, not because you're the same, but because the need is the same. One mission, one heartbeat, one collective impact. I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting me to be with you here today. Thank you. I have a few moments that questions can be asked if you have some. If you're settled, if you're comfortable, if you feel engaged and life is showing up, I will settle with that as well. But I'm open for questions. I want to say one thing. My brother served in the Marines. When they shaved his head He couldn't understand it. But he still served. I'm proud of all that you guys have brought to this country and this world. And sometimes my heart breaks when you're called to do things that you don't even understand. But you do it because it's duty. Thank you. Are there any questions or are we good? Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You too. I couldn't be here without you. No, this is